All right, new studio, but we're gonna start the same way. I don't want to blow yours out too much. Let me know how are we doing in the chat right now? How are we doing? 22 races without OT broken. How are we doing? Let me know. Can you hear me good? New studio, bare walls. I know it's weird. We'll get it good to go. Looking good, sounding good. How is it going, everybody? It is, yes, time. And that hammering you hear is the field crashing into the damn wall. That was the truckiest of truck races, a disaster class. The trucks have been doing so good. Was it 22 of yes, and I will get the blue and black back, I promise. 22 races without an overtime, and we broke it with 2 overtimes. Let me know in the chat, out of 10, what did you think of this race? By the way, those super chats left before, I will read those after we talk about the race itself, because there's plenty to talk about and nothing to talk about at the same time. Let me know what you thought. Well, 21 races, okay, but it was like 22 if you add this one and all that back and forth, whatever. We got, let's see, a 3.1, a 3, a 7. I'm actually shocked we had a 7, 4, a 2, a 6 or a 7. Let's see, where's an 8 out of 10. I was there. I mean, I hope you had fun. I hope you had fun. We are having fun. I believe we still, new studio, but I believe we still have the sounders. Yes, we do.
This is fun. We're having fun.
I actually genuinely hope you had fun. You know, a lot of people were there. I'm seeing in there 10 out of 10 JK, 1 out of a million, 1 in a million race, if you will. 3.5. Let's be honest. We have not had a truck race like that in a while. It's been a long time since we've had a truck race that was kind of like the, last couple years truck race. I would say the trucks have been really good this year. Actually, I thought that the truck series this year has been solid for the most part, and then of course we'll talk about the scoring loop stuff. We're going to hear a lot about that and talk a lot about it. We'll talk about the booth. There's so much to talk about. Let's get into how this race finished off. 174 of the 167 scheduled laps, 11 cautions, 457 laps, 2 hours, 33 minutes, 28 seconds, the run time, 15 lead changes, and 0.279 seconds was the gap when it came to the win. Corey Heim time, wins after 96 laps led. We think, who knows, after how many times we've had DQs, we might have a DQ at the end of the night. We just keep having DQs. So at the moment, Heim is the winner. Over Daniel Hemrick, Raja Karuth had 5 laps led tonight. Arguably was the leader at time of the leader at time of caution, but they did the scoring loop stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit. But he comes home third. Another solid run, another solid night to climb more up the points. Definitely needed that. Tyler Ingram in 4th. Tanner Gray 5th, Rhodes, Crafton, Curry, Sutton, and Ty Majeski, the top 10. Then Jack Wood, Stephen Parsons, who ran top 5 towards the end of the night. He comes home 12th. 13th, Nick Sanchez. 14th, Nathan Bird. Boyd in 15th. Chandler Smith in 16th. That was your lead lap drivers. The top half of the field finished on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar, after battery issues, comes home 2 laps down, had the fastest lap of the night with a 29.74 second lap. Josh Rayum with 18th. He comes home 2 laps down as well. And last on the track, 19th place finisher Cody Dennison, 3 laps off the pace. Everybody else from this point on, out of the race. 20th, Matt Mills. 21st, Jake Garcia. Mosak, 22nd. Enfinger, 23rd. Friesen, 24th. Frankie Muniz, 25th. He freaked out afterwards, too. At least there's passion. I'll give him that. 26th was Tony Breidinger, who has been called to the NASCAR hauler after running into Carson Hocevar in the pits. again, one of the truckiest of truck race moves. After that, we have Luke Fenhouse in 27th, Lane Riggs 28th, Perez 29th, Jones in 30th, Ruggiero, Brandon Jones, by the way, in 30th. If that's the Jones in this race. Ruggiero in 31st, and Caden Honeycutt out of the race. Last place finish on the night. A long-ass night. A very long night. A night that I thought would end roughly 45 minutes earlier. The 2025 SpeedyCash.com 250. It lived up to every Tex ass meme and every truck racing meme. Finishing order will be on the bottom right here. See where your favorite guy or gal finished tonight. I will keep on the I'll keep on the chat on my end so I can see. God, I mean, which part of it do we want to talk about first? Because I kind of talked about it earlier. The fact that we had went 21, 22, whatever races without an overtime. We get back to it in style. 2 overtime finishes tonight, or 2 attempts at overtime, I should say, tonight. I mean, again, I show you, and I think it actually will show up this time. The notes. Usually a truck race with this few of cars, it ends like right here. But there was so much crap that happened tonight. And a lot of it in the last 20 laps. Really, I mean, that was pretty much it. The last 20 laps. Yes, the handy dandy Iceberg notebook. Nice little Blues Clues reference. It was just a shit show at the end. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was just a shit show at the end there. I'm not going to get too mad because it wasn't like Martinsville standards. It wasn't like 2023, I believe it was, Phoenix standards for trucks. It wasn't anything that was like the worst of the worst. It was just another majorly sloppy NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. I will say, though, it sticks out because, like I said, I think the truckers have actually been really damn good this year. I think it was more, I don't know if it was more the track. I think it was lack of track time because of all the rain earlier today. Tough track as it is, as broken as Texas is. And then, just that a lot of the truck guys are really inexperienced, make a lot of dumb moves. Guys racing at the front, making bad moves. But, looking on this end, I mean, it's really, we can go through the last 20 laps. Ever since Frankie Muniz has his crash, it just goes completely bonkers from there. With 14 to go, they get it restarted. And to be fair, Corey Heim tonight at the end did not have the greatest restarts. But immediately, about a lap, almost 2 laps in, as I go through 3 and 4, Stuart Friesen, who was having a great night, we had talked all about after Rockingham, man, that interview sounded really disastrous. It sounded really bad. Maybe he's going to retire soon. He hasn't been running as well either. Hasn't won in a while. I know he had the second at Atlanta, I believe it was, but nothing, that to write home about. And then he's running up front, arguably for second. I would say it was probably where he was going to finish, but arguably could have run up front for the win if needed, if possible. Ends up getting loose underneath the 9 and 38, crashes Enfinger, crashes Chandler Smith, brings out the red flag because the wall was being repaired, which I didn't get why they went back to yellow while the wall was still being repaired, while we could waste green flag possible laps. I have to think that maybe Fox was like, hey, we need to hurry up the TV window, so let's just start clicking off a few laps. Get it back going with 6 to go. He clears. Heim, that is, clears. And then another crash happens. 81 gets loose after some contact on the front stretch, gets loose underneath the 13. They crash in 1 and 2. Sparks off overtime, which there's a crash in the grass that the Fox people in the booth, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're not there, or if they are there, they just are freaking blind. They don't see the truck go into the grass for the 3rd time tonight. I mean, just total craziness that not only happened 1 time, that didn't happen 2 times, that happened 3 times tonight. Just everyone always talks about that Dale Jr. moment in 2014 where he just kind of had a dumbass attack and went down into the grass a little bit. And yeah, it was a pretty bad moment. But that happened 3 times tonight. And there was one guy who with the grass and then did it again to crash out. I'm just like thinking to myself, what are we doing here? And I know, like it's low hanging fruit. I should probably be ranting and raving more and be more upset. But I'm not going to be honest. I mean, I should say I'm going to be honest that I'm not going to freak out too much. It was more of one of those races where I'm watching the Wreck Fest. And again, any given NASCAR season in any series, we need probably just 1 or 2 just stupid races. When it comes to each series, like there's some races that are just going to be clean and green. Others are going to be like fuel mileage, like the Rockingham one. They're really fun. Sometimes to make sure the palette is completely clean, you just got to have a shit show. Now, if this happens over and over again, then yeah, I will get more and more upset. But I just couldn't believe Fox didn't see it. I couldn't believe the people on the cameraman couldn't see it. The field wasn't big at that time. I think there were only like 21 trucks left at that point, maybe 1 or 2 more or less. The booth didn't catch it. I was like, what are we? Come on, people. And listen, they probably should put turf there. But it's kind of the age-old thing of yeah, the grass is there, but you ain't supposed to run in it. Stay out of the grass, son. Like then you'll be fine. But so the booth was there. That makes it even worse because it's right in front of them and everyone could see it on the TV. And I guarantee in the stands they saw it. But Mills hits the grass. And then I guess we can talk about the scoring loop deal. They don't call the caution immediately. They, to Fox's credit, at least did show where the scoring loops were. So I guess it's better than what they did before. Hang the banner on that one. But at the moment of caution, Raja Karuth is the leader. But unless it's the last lap and they're doing it for the finish, NASCAR's rule has always been to revert to the scoring loop. It makes it easier. They don't have to parcel through the field and all of that. So by the letter of the law, it was the correct call to put Corey Heim as the leader. I believe they put Rhodes second and Karuth third, based on the way the rule was written. Now, what a lot of fans, myself included, have kind of argued is maybe we need to kind of try to find a way to update this. Because I don't like races being decided by the scoring loop, because that race was decided by the scoring loop. I believe Heim would have been second or third, maybe third, which would have made a huge difference in the outcome of this race had he not had the advantage of being the leader. Now, what I have said before, and I have been ridiculed across multiple different platforms for this, Reddit, other YouTube, channels, Twitter especially, is I think that after 30 some years of doing it this way, we can try to advance the technology to get the field frozen at the exact moment of caution. If I can see the field frozen at the moment of caution at home, watching the NASCAR.com page as they're updating by the moment, I think that we can start going that way. I think just because I think it would be a lot less confusing over time. I think the technology has to have improved at that point too. And we wouldn't have to have these kind of moments or revert to scoring loops and things like that. And I know a lot of people are like, well, look how long it takes to go through the finish and all of that. And that's why I'm saying I think that there should be, if the technology isn't there, which I doubt it, because again, if I'm at home watching and seeing where everybody is at and each position changing at just about every moment, I think that NASCAR can start doing that more too and develop more technology to make it more accurate. I'm very hit or miss when it comes to my opinions on like whether some technology should be in or what should not be in or things like that. Maybe I'm a little more on this tonight because it was Raja's the leader, and I will fully admit I like Raja. He's a good dude, known him for a good deal of time. He was the leader at the moment of caution, but because of the way the rule is written, because of the way they revert back to it, it was the right call, as much as we might disagree with it, to put the 11 as the leader. I just think that's something that can be advanced over time. I think it can take some unneeded confusion out. It can take, people calling NASCAR homers or favorites about one thing or another out of it. And I just think that, we've seen them in the Cup Series. They want to push technology further. We've seen them with other, like the stuff on pit roads, to push with technology for better officiating. I think we can continue that push with better technology for things like this. Because tonight it's just a truck race that Heim probably would have ended up winning anyway. It would have been more difficult. He wouldn't have had that position. But let's be honest, he was the best one out there tonight. And the next closest one was crashed out earlier tonight. And the next closest one had a battery issue. But, eventually it's going to be a really important race. It's going to be a cup race. It's going to be a playoff race or a chase race or whatever the hell they call it in the coming years. I just think that's something, and I've kind of been on this train for a couple of years now that I think can be improved over time. Not really wanting to bitch about it, but just more wanting to kind of like have a calm discussion about it. But you know what? We can argue about it all we want. It was the 11 and the 99, 1-2 front row on what would be the final restart. 99 got the push at first, but Heim gets out, gets the lead. It's 3 wide at one point for the win with 1 to go. With the 99, the 11, and Hemrick comes up there. Heim ends up being able to clear him because this is just the NASCAR Corey Heim series until we get to Phoenix. He gets the win tonight. I'll be honest, outside of maybe 1, maybe 2 races, but probably one that I can really think of, I feel like Corey Heim has deserved to win just about every single truck race this year. And to be fair, I think with Joey Logano, as much as people were getting kind of nails on a chalkboard of him tonight, feelings, I do think Joey Logano was right in the sense that it is nice to see the best one and the one who dominated the night actually get the win that they deserved. Even if it is a little chalk and a little boring and a little, stuff like that. But that wasn't it tonight. I mean, there was so much more stuff that happened through the night. I go back to the first page and pole qualifying is rained out, practice rained out. It was just a pure washout until this race. Luckily, we got the race in, the rains went through. And it was calm with the comp yellow, but I mean, I'm looking through and you've got 2 wrecks by Lane Riggs. I believe they both were in stage 2. He had the one where there was no contact after he got loose under the 98. Then he ended up getting put in the grass by Fenhouse. I think that's on the 66 for not knowing he was clear. Riggs, I think, had the second best truck tonight. I still think Heim had the best one, but I do think Riggs had the closest to Heim and could have given him a race had he raced the rest of the way. He was really fast early on, put up similar lap times on traffic as the 11. And I do think that 34, as the year goes on, is going to be a true championship contender. I made the prediction on my predictions video this year on NWP. I have said it on these streams. I think that Lane Riggs is a championship 4 driver this year. I think that he is going to break out as the year goes on. He's shown before he gets better as the year goes on, as he goes to tracks he's been to more and more and more. And that team, I think, is primed for a championship run. Or at least a championship 4 run. We never know what can happen heading into Phoenix. He's just got to keep the truck going straight. So we had another one, though, with, I believe, where was it at? Lap 31. Ruggiero goes full 2014 Dale Earnhardt Jr., drives into the grass, destroys his truck up the track into the 45, 17, and the 17%, the 45, the 1. Friesen spins it, stays out of it. All in all, again, though, just amazing how many times drivers were in the grass day. I don't think we'll see it the rest of the weekend, but it was just kind of crazy. It was that the Doofenshmirtz meme where it's like, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's weird it's happened twice. I'd have 3 nickels tonight, and it's weird it happened 3 times. Looking at the stages side of it too, we had some shuffling up in there. Enfinger winning the first one over Mills, but third, Matt Crafton. Matt Crafton with a top 10 run tonight, even after the issues that put him back to 18th on one of the last couple restarts. Running up towards the front at different points, running top 5, being one of the 6 or so trucks that was left on the lead lap before the Frankie Muniz caution. Overall looked like a classic Matt Crafton night. Looked like a top 5 night for that 88. 7th for the first time, I would say, probably since his championship, since the last championship he had. 7th is actually not where he should have been. And it's not because he ran worse all night. It's because he ran better. The veteran looked pretty damn good tonight. And yes, I know he hasn't won a race since 2020. And I don't think, that he's going to go out and win a race this year, but he's shown a bit more life this year. And tonight he showed a lot of life. Even before attrition took out a lot of drivers, he, through strategy, but then also speed later on, was up front. I got to say, people have had their problems before. I have too, with sometimes things that Crafton does, but it's good seeing the cagey old veteran have a classic good run. Looking at the second stage, we had a lot of wrecks in that one too. Perez goes around in that one. Lane Riggs, we talked about earlier, twice has wrecks. One that was inconsequential, another one that was very consequential. But ultimately, it was Heim time with that one too. Wins that stage over Chandler Smith, Enfinger, Hemrick, Friesen, Rhodes, Garcia, Ankrum, Majeski, and Crafton. A lot of names that we generally do see. Again, I thought that Friesen too, I talked about him earlier, ran well tonight. It was definitely a bit of a blast from the past of some of the ones that were running up front. Some of the youngsters, you could tell, were struggling with this track a lot. And I think it really favored the hyper talented ones that are always up front and some of the old veterans. Unfortunately for some, they didn't get the finishes they might have deserved, but this is one of those nights where you just got to kind of appreciate some of those old guys running well, because they're not going to be here forever. Like I said, the final stage, I talked about the last 21 or so laps. Really not too much happened. We had a long, clean green run until the Muniz wreck with 21 to go, which I have to admit, and I know it's unintentional, obviously, because he's pissed, but seeing him get so mad and like his gestures and all of that and flailing his arms and all, it looked really funny. I'm not going to lie. And I know he's like a little dude, so that probably makes it funnier. It kind of reminded me of a South Park episode. One with Down with the Sickness a little bit. I won't go any further than that, other than it was really funny and Cartman got in a fight. That's what it reminded me of. I know that's probably mean to say, but that's immediately all I was thinking was that episode. And I'm probably going to watch it tonight. But that long green run, you did have Majeski getting into the wall at one point. That was something big that happened. You had the green flag stopped. Of course, Hocevar with the battery issue. There was stuff going on during it, but it was not a through and through from green flag to checkered flag, an entire just crazy ass stupid truck race. We rarely really get those like legendarily bad ones. And I really don't put this in that category. I'd still, because I thought it did become disastrous. Not completely, just irredeemable. I did probably say this was a 3. I would have given it a 4 or a 5 if we didn't have those last couple in the overtimes and stuff. But probably a 3, because there was the ability to pass for the faster trucks and all of that. But I gotta say, the craziest thing that happened tonight, outside of the craziness on track, was off track when hosts of our pit to replace the battery. Tony Breidinger runs into the only truck on pit road. I mean, in a Chris Wright-esque move, turning into the garage. I don't know if she had turned the headset off, if the spotter had taken a break to have an ice cream cone or something. Runs right into the 7 truck. The Dente got rode right into the Canes truck. Chili's versus Canes, a rivalry we never thought we needed to see. But it wasn't like Tony Breidinger was any good before that point. She was the slowest truck on track. A truck that should not be running that slow. Maybe it shouldn't be running as amazingly as some others, but should be running better than 30th off of speed out there. I'm sorry, there are some out there that have way less experience. I don't know if something was broken on that truck. I don't know if it was just like the setup was way off. I don't know what was going on, but that truck was woefully off the pace tonight. Running into somebody on pit road, the only other truck on pit road, when there's only, I think, like 25 or 6 at that time trucks left on the racetrack. Just absolutely boneheaded on somebody's part. I don't know if it was driver, spotter, or crew chief, but there was some lack of communication there. Well, let's be honest. She hasn't had a good year, and let's also be honest. There's no promise there. That truck and that driver are there solely to sell sponsorship. That she's not in that truck for performance. She's in that truck because she can sell sponsors really damn well. And I'd say the same thing about anyone that's in those trucks that doesn't run well but can sell sponsors. Like, you really think that Frankie Muniz would get a chance if it wasn't for his name? And it wasn't for like how much popularity he had and the money he could bring in? Hell no, he wouldn't get it. He was off the pace in ARCA, let alone trucks. So just bad night for a lot of the drivers that ran really bad all year. Yes. I love this. Wait, she was in this race night? Yeah. And, I've seen a lot of people like rip on Cody Dennison before. I know he's been in my chat and stuff too. But give Cody credit. He slower truck got the hell out of the way. I was told after a couple wrecks this year that wasn't possible for drivers, even squeezing a little bit. And I get he got in the way like a few times. It got split. Finished. It's a lot better than nearly half the field can say. Finished 19th, last one on the track, 3 laps down. A lot of that, I think, being due to staying out long in the pit stop. But I mean, that's better than, let's see, 10, 11, 13 DNFers tonight. Hey, rip on him all you want. He hasn't done anything that stupid in trucks that would fit what everyone's hating on. So I want to say what you want, man. He finished. He stayed out of wrecks. He didn't run into the grass multiple times tonight. No, and I know you weren't ripping him a new one. I just know a lot of people do, especially on the Twitter side and for shit outside of racing, but he stayed out of the way. And same goes for Rayum too. Spencer Boyd, lead lap finish, Bird, 14th place finish tonight, stayed out of the way, ran really well. Just a lot of people that get a lot of hate. We're not the ones that were doing stupid moves and stupid stuff. They were the ones that finished. So there's a lot. I mean, I know I should be focused on some of the other things, but I'm just amazed of how many times drivers ran into the grass tonight. I don't know why tonight was so different either. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 10, honestly, just because of the stupidness. Because, like, honestly, too, if we hadn't had the Muniz deal, I probably would have given this race probably like a 6 or, a 6-ish. Probably not a 7. It wasn't good by any means, but it was decent before it devolved and before we had a disaster at the finish. Say what you want about Texas. There was passing. It was difficult at times, don't get me wrong, but the good trucks were able to pass tonight. But it was really the ending that kind of soured it for me. But at the same time, I can't rip on this race too much. I can't rip on the series, I should say. I can rip on the race a lot. I can't rip on the series too much because the truckers have been probably the most clean and controversial series in the last 21, 22 races worth of time for them. They've been generally a pretty clean and green series. We had a fuel mileage finish in a truck race that was pretty damn fun at Rockingham. So I'm not going to bash the truck series too much unless this becomes a thing again. To me, this was just sort of a flare up. if anything else. It's not like the Xfinity guys where I expect more from them. It's not like Cup where we have 5 freaking overtimes in a race and a bunch of manipulation and stuff like that. I've generally been pretty bullish on the Truck Series. I think this was just a bad blemish so far. And I think a lot of it could be put on Texas. I think if we have the same kind of race at Kansas next week, or even North Wilkesboro in a couple weeks, or Charlotte, yeah, okay, we can really start hammering in and be like, what the hell are these guys doing? But I really think that this was more a Texas issue, a rain out issue, and not being able to have any track time whatsoever, more than anything else. And just some people just went damn stupid, because Cup races can be like this, Xfinity races can be like this here. This is just how it is at Texas a lot. It's funny because people at the track were telling me that the weepers are back. They couldn't get the track dry at different points because the weepers were causing issues. So, I'm glad a few people agree. I do think this is a track issue more than a series or driver issue. But if this kind of thing happens at a Kansas, a Wilkesboro, a Charlotte, a Michigan, Nashville, okay, yeah, I think we can start having a little bit more of a conversation on it. So, hey, it's all good. It's all good. These races happen. We'll get past it this weekend. Let's look into the super chats and finish out the night that way. I appreciate so many of y'all staying up. It's almost 11 o'clock Central Time, almost midnight on the East Coast. So I appreciate it a lot. Don't get me wrong. I want anyone thinking I take you all for granted. Napa Racing Fan left 2 super chats for 2 before the stream. Can't put them on screen just because of it being beforehand, but said, Little, 1 lap to go in stage 1. Fans with 2 to go. Yeah, I noticed that too. The Fox booth was Jamie Little was better this week than the last time she was in the booth, but that's not saying much. It's still pretty rough. And yeah, one to go in stage 1 when it says 3 to go into 2 to go. And I was just like, whatever. And then said, welcome to the NASCAR Heim series. Pretty damn true. Pretty damn true. It's only 8:40. I'm glad it's 8:40 for you. I know for others it's 11:42, I should say. 22:42. That's how it is for me right now. It is 10:42 in the Central Time Zone. So, Evergreen Mountain here said, at this point, I'd rather watch Mikey serenade Danny Dye with a 1.5 out of 10. That's just something, man. That stuff you've left this one before, I think. I give you guys credit. Y'all are very much you guys are very much creative with your super chats. Garabuki for the 10 says decent-ish race, mired by weird timing loop, word salad to gift time the lead at the end, plus Hocevar getting screwed with the battery thing when he was probably the only real contender. Was just sad. Yeah, I mean, everything came together for Corey Heim to win this race. Let's be honest. Like, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're really good while being lucky, and that was definitely him tonight. Joshua Boston here with the 10 says, all the progress the Truck Series made is now gone in one race. We're back to square one where the drivers have reverted back to their Phoenix 2023 ways, and Corey Heim can kiss my ass. I wouldn't say it's been all taken out in one race, personally. Again, races like this happen. It's been a good while. They've been pretty damn clean for a while. Flare-ups happen. If this happens a lot more, okay, yeah, we got a problem. I'm not going to full-on rip on him just yet. All right. Cy Supersonic says, what can I say for the 266? Loose is fast if you can hang on. True. That's an old saying. Joshua Boston with the 5-month member chat says, this race was most certainly as bad as Phoenix 23. I don't think so. I think that was a especially horrible race. But I do think a lot of people, I'm not saying that you're doing this, but I'm just saying a lot of people are going to overhate on this race because it is Texas. And to be fair, Texas has earned that hatred. But that is what it is. Jake for the 5 says, this race was a lot of fun. After watching last week's Talladega Snoozer Cup race, I needed this. 9 out of 10. Also, I don't think Jamie Little is that bad. I feel like you're trolling, but I took amusement out of your comment. So thank you for that comment and super chat. And G Swizzy 17 says that Raja Caruth got robbed. I mean, by the letter of the law, no. By common sense of him being the leader at the moment of caution, yes. And like I said, I think we should be able to change that rule. But can't do that tonight, unfortunately. I wish we could, because he definitely was the leader at the moment of caution. And it was funny because in the booth, they're like, I think he's in the lead. And it's like, yeah, he is, Michael. And then Logano's like, yeah, but they go off of scoring loops. And Logano, like, firsthand embarrassment for the Fox booth. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. Life moves on. Xfinity race tomorrow might be really fun. And then I realized that Kyle Larson is racing, so it'll be really fun for second. And then the cup race will be wild. It'll be wild. That's for sure. I appreciate y'all coming in so late. It is almost midnight on the East Coast. I'm not going to hold y'all too much longer. Enjoy the last 14 minutes or a couple hours of your Friday night. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon talking all about Xfinity. I'm just saying, maybe Ryan Sieg gets redemption. Who knows? It's probably going to be Kyle Larson, let's be honest. But one can only hope. One can only hope that we get a fun ending and not just the chalk ending. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Can't wait to see us. Sunday we'll have the cup race, and then we're on Eric's channel Wednesday night for NWP. Thank you so much for watching. This hopefully will be filled more in as the weekend and week goes on, as I live here more and just sort of permanently. Yeah, have a good night.